Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. It is Irish Gone National Day and I just thought I'd make a quick video with two selections for the big race. I haven't really touched anything else from the Fairy House card. If you look to the last few days, some of the winners you couldn't fancy in a million years, so I've just been avoiding it all day. We'll have a few bets in the big Irish Gone National itself, and I've got two selections and I'll start off with probably the stronger one. Definitely is shorter in the market. It's Angel's Dawn, who won for me at the Cheltenham Festival, and that was in the Kimya over 3 mile 2 furlong. It was a slightly shorter trip for her that day than it is today. It's an extra 3 furlongs, but I was very impressed by the way she jumped that day. She was held up, she just jumped very well, picked them off coming down the hill, came wide and travelled into it so strongly. And if you look at the finishing margin, it was a neck at the end of the day from Stumptown, who is a lot better off at the weights this time around. But if you looked 2 out, she was the only thing on the bridle, and she could have won a long way. I think maybe the jockey got to the front a bit too soon. She usually is held up and comes with a late run, so I think maybe that was why she only won by a neck at the end of the day. I think Stumptown did get past her on the run in. She didn't do a lot in front, but then she battled back and won by a neck, going away at the end of the day as well. Stumptown also had the rail, which benefited him as well. So Angel's Dawn for me is probably the main selection. Stumptown is £8 better off. He's also quite well backed. He's into about 15 to 2 favourite. You can get 12 to 1 on Angel's Dawn at the minute for 6 places. That probably isn't the worst bet of all time. Gets in off a featherweight, regular jockey back on board. And this horse should stay this trip, you would think. She was going very well in the Grand National trial when she fell at 2 out. She was probably going as well as Cocoa Beach, who was the eventual winner that day. I'm not sure who would have won, but she was travelling well. Again, she came from the back. She picked off horses and she was in about third when she unseated. You kind of showed how much was under the bonnet because she took off a stride or two too early, winged it and was coming down as the fence was going up. It wasn't like a tired fall or anything. I think she would have gone very close that day. She was also very well backed that day into 15 to 8, so they thought she was going to stay the 3 mile 4 furlong trip. So an extra furlong today shouldn't be too much of a problem. She's got good form on soft ground and she is obviously relatively unexposed as a horse in general, and especially over fences. She's just had the 6 starts, so I think she's open to plenty of improvement. She's got a mark of 129. She carries a penalty, but I think she can develop into a nice 140 rated horse in time. She doesn't do anything flashy, but she will travel for you and she will jump well. She has got some decent experience in big runner fields. There's nothing as big as this, which would be a slight concern, but I don't think the occasion will faze her. So she's my first selection at 12 to 1. Next up is a horse right at the bottom of the weights, Defi Bleu for Gordon Elliott. Now this horse is a 10-year-old, might be getting a little bit too old if you look at the stats for this horse, but I think there definitely is a big horse in this horse. He kind of does pop up on occasions, wins at a big price. He's a big price again. Today's 28 to 1, 33 to 1 I should say. Carries 10 stone 2, carries an absolute featherweight, and I think this is the trip that the horse has kind of been crying out for quite a while now. This horse also in the race, the Grand National trial at Punchestown, which Angel's Dawn fell in. The winner, Cocoa Beach, I think was very impressive that day. I think he's definitely well handicapped and I think he'll win the English National. So I think the form of this race was good. Defi Bleu again was kind of held up. He can jump sketchy at sometimes. He always kind of makes a mistake at the wrong place, but nothing finished faster than him. He jumped the last in about 6th, tied with 7th, and he finished in 3rd. And I think what he did after the last was most impressive for me because he didn't look to be going anywhere turning in. Cocoa Beach, the runner, kind of skipped clear, and there was about 4 or 5 horses which were kind of plodding on, and he came from quite far back. He hit the line strongly. I think this trip will suit him. He gets a featherweight, and I think there's a lot to like about him. You do kind of question in this big field, will it suit him? Because sometimes if it is a standing start, he was kind of slowly away, then he gets shuffled back. And if he makes mistakes at the wrong time, he probably will be in the wrong places at the wrong time. But I just think at 33 to 1. It's a stab in the dark. If he's on a going day, he'll give us some throw because he'll jump well, he'll travel well, and he'll be in with a chance turning in. But I think we will know our fate very early on. If he belts the first, you may as well tear up your betting slip. But there's the two selections for me. Defi Bleu at 33 to 1. Angel's Dawn is probably the stronger selection at 12 to 1. Others in the race, I think Aya Maximus is quite interesting. I'm not exactly sure he wants this trip though. Has been pretty well backed and bought by JP McManus, who runs this horse in his silks for the first time. I'm not exactly sure he's well handicapped off a mark of 149. The Devil's Coachman, another one for JP McManus, who of course has had a pretty good Fairy House meeting so far. That does have a good profile for this, but again, you just think, is he well handicapped enough to win off a mark of 145? He's going to need a lot of luck in running as well. The actual weights for this aren't too bad if you like anything bar Royal Pagal, because Royal Pagal carries top weight 11 stone 12 with 160. So there is some good horses which are carrying 11 stone or less, which is probably something to look out for. You think Royal Pagal would find it tough to win this off 11 stone 12. There's plenty of horses which will run well in this off a top weight, but to go and win this off a top mark, I think that'll be slightly tough. So I'll be hoping Angel's Dawn and Defi Bleu off featherweights can run well. That's all from me. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. There's plenty of videos coming your way, especially focusing on entry Thursday, Friday and Saturday. So thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.